We appreciate you guys being here. I know you guys have busy schedules. I'm a single dad with 2 kids, so I know what a juggle and a challenge it is for you to do. So thank you for being here. We're all here together for our student athletes. My name is Thompson. I'm the assistant principal in charge of athletics. So if you have any issues or concerns, you're going to address them with me. But we do have a chain of command that we're going to talk about. Our athletic director is Bobby DeBerry. He's also our wrestling coach, and if you know Coach DeBerry, he's just an amazing human being. We also have our athletic trainer, Mike Days, and they're going to speak to you in a little bit as well. And then our athletic assistant is Nia Navarro, and we can make sure you guys get this contact information. The best thing to do is always shoot us an email. That gives us documentation. It also gives us some time so we can get back with you. A majority of the concerns or questions you may have, please make sure you address them with your student athlete and the coach first. So that's kind of the chain of command that we always do things with, is we want your student athlete to talk to the coach first. Then if the concern still lingers, we want you to follow up with the coach. And then from that point, you follow up with the athletic director, and then you can bring myself involved. But we want to keep it at the coaching level first and just try to sort out as many details as we can down there. So the first thing is our department. We're very different from any other athletic department you may be a part of. We're about academic achievement and player development. So that's what we stand for, that's what we're about. We're about ACT scores, we're about GPAs. So one of the things right now with the world of athletics is we have club, you have all kinds of teams. You have kids playing year-round, people want college scholarships. That's what the end goal is. The reality is there's very limited scholarships, okay? The thing that's going to pop for your student athlete is the ACT score, the GPA. That is the most important thing. And I can say that because I've coached 15 NBA players, 69 Division I players, and 125 college players from my coaching in basketball. So I've coached for 18 years. And I'm telling you, the first question every college recruiter has ever asked me is, what kind of kid is he? What are their grades? That's the first thing. If your son or daughter can play, they'll get to the next level, trust me. But that academic achievement piece, that is going to be vital, that's going to be critical. Because if they can't make it academically, they're not going to be recruitable. So that's something to really think about. So that's part of our push and how we do things at Tucson High. We're about that academic achievement model. So you're going to see that. We're also part, and one of the things that we do is we're about the whole child. So we want them to be good people. We want them to look someone in the eye, shake someone's hand, be respectful. Be honorable. So you're going to hear your student athlete talk about our motto, be a good person, be a good student, be a good athlete. And we do those things in that order because that's our expectation. So what we do is we offer how to be badminton classes. So every Friday morning, your son or daughter is going to be at our badminton class where we explain these things. We also explain the ACT model. Remember that our school is switched. So we're not an AZ Merit school, we're an ACT school. So this is a great benefit for your son or daughter because if they get a great ACT score, they're going to be recruited. The other thing about NCAA Clearinghouse is you need to have a certain GPA of your core classes with that ACT score, and it's a sliding scale. So the higher your GPA, you don't have to have a killer test score. So these are things that we explain to your student athletes so they know and they understand what the expectation is. So these are some of the things that we're doing. Like we talked about, we're about student achievement and player development. So when we hire coaches, we want our coaches to get your son and daughter better in 4 years. We want to see that development as a person, as a student, and as an athlete. So those are the things that we're trying to impress upon them. And sometimes it takes time. So we want them to really focus on that process, on that journey of player and student development. So that's really important for us. The other thing is we're an academic institution. We're the oldest high school in southern Arizona. So with that, we're tied to the academics. So with club, understand that club is a different model. Club is for profit, and that's about playing. Okay? We are an academic institution. So that's what we're tied with. So that academic component is vital, and that's the first thing for us. So that's something that we take very seriously, and it's really important to us. The other things that we're trying to teach your son or daughter is that resiliency, okay? How to just work hard, how to push through, okay? And also how to ask for help. So these are things that are really important to us. Parents, we need your help. We need your help. because it's a village to raise kids. It's not one person. We want to be there and we want to be supporting you, and we want you guys to help support us. So if you have discipline issues at home, shoot us an email. If there's a problem going on that we need to be aware of, shoot us an email. Let us work together for your son and daughter, because we need to see that whole picture with them so that we're on the same page. That's vital, okay? Because when I was growing up, I didn't listen to my mom too much, but if my coach said something, man, I was on point. And there's a lot of kids in that situation, so we want to make sure that we're helping each other with that. But we also need your support when it comes to our coaches and our teams, okay? We all like to win. Winning's fun, okay? But winning is not the most important thing, okay? Like I talked about, your son or daughter developing into an adult with a degree who can have a career, who can make their own path in life, that's our end goal, okay? We want them to achieve. And if we win some games, that's great. But we're never going to win at all costs. Unfortunately, that's not how we do business here. And that's not what we're about. So we're going to do what we can to win, but like we said, we have those other components. So as parents, you got to also understand this too. So we want you to have the respect as well for our coaches and our coaching staffs, okay? We'd love to have more volunteers, okay? We'd love to get more referees out there. We need them. You guys have been to games. You know that the referee pool is kind of shallow. So we'd love for you guys, come see us. We can get you the paperwork for that. But also understand that our coaches have made a commitment to your son and daughter. And there's a lot to do that commitment, okay? So if you want to be a parent, please parent, cheer, support. If you have an issue, come see us. But what we don't want is that negativity going to the coaching staff and to the team. Because remember, from a parent perspective, we want what's best for our son and daughter. I totally understand that. I have kids myself. Okay? And like I said, I've coached for a long time. But when you join something, you're joining something as part of a team. Something that's bigger than your son and daughter. And that's what we have to keep in mind. You might have a particular role for your son and daughter. Your son and daughter might have a particular role for themselves. And that might not be how they fit on the team. So that's something we just need to keep in perspective. But the negativity will affect your son and daughter. We don't want to go to that point. So please keep it positive when it comes to our coaches and our staffs. Be a model and just be that positive role model. And just like I talked about, the GPA and ACT, those are vital. And if you want more information about that, we can send you to a website, and we're actually going to teach our student athletes this Friday how to calculate their own NCAA clearinghouse. So they're going to know exactly what grades they need to be NCAA Division I eligible. Like we talked about a little bit earlier, if there are any issues, we want you to start with your son or daughter. Then we want you to go to the coach. And then if you feel like, you're still not on the same page, then you're going to shoot an email to our athletic director, Bobby DeBerry, and he'll help you at that point. If you still feel like, something's not working out, then we're going to go over and you're going to bring it to my attention as well. Yeah? But also remember, when you have a concern or complaint, one of the concerns or complaints we're really not going to discuss is playing time, strategy, things like that. Okay? We're talking about something that you feel is not what we're part of our agreement that we have. So everyone here, you're going to be attending coaching meetings with our coaches for your individual sports. You're going to get the specific team rules. You're going to get basically that code of conduct. And if something's not working out with that, that's when you bring it up to champion. Does that make sense to everybody? Because we just want to make sure we're clear on that part. Everyone here is going to get team rules. So kind of what we talked about as well, it's just not athletic ability that's going to determine playing time in Tucson High. That's not it. Okay? It's attitude. It's how hard you work. It's what you're doing in the classroom. If your son or daughter is tardy every class, they may not start. If your son and daughter is pulling a D in a class, they may not play. So please be aware of that we have those high expectations for your son and daughter, and we're not going to lower those. So this is something that you need to be aware of, because this is about our academic achievement. That's what they can control. So that behavior, that attitude point, that may cost them playing time. So that's something to think about. We also have mandatory tutoring and study halls. So your son or daughter is going to get this agenda planner. And in this agenda planner, we want them to put their homework down. Put when things are due. Put when best are. We want them to start organizing themselves. The other thing that you're going to see on Wednesdays is they have to come to mandatory tutoring on Wednesdays. So from 2 to 3 o'clock, every student athlete who plays a fall sport is going to be in the auditorium and then later in the cafeteria for tutoring. That's mandatory. Every Friday morning at 8 a.m., they need to be in conference period with the teacher. That's mandatory. If your son or daughter's coming late, if your son or daughter's missing that, they're going to sit. This is part of our higher expectations. So be aware of this, because this is kind of, when our son or daughter makes the team, you also make the team. So these are things that we just want you guys to be aware of and be transparent with those types of things. Okay? You're also going to get a code of conduct. Make sure you really read that code of conduct with your son or daughter, because unfortunately, they are role models. They represent us. Okay? It's a privilege, not a right, to play high school sports. So that's something that we take in pride. So drugs, alcohol, those type of things, it's just not acceptable. So there is a code of conduct. It's basically a 3 strikes policy. So the first time you're suspended from the team for 2 weeks. That means all practices, games, everything. Anything that the team does, you're not allowed to attend. The second time, any violation of those team rules, you're off the team for the rest of the year. And then the third one, that's it. You're done playing sports at Tucson High. And this is a district standard or norm for all athletic teams in TUSD. Also understand that your coaches may have even higher expectations. So make sure you have that conversation with your son and daughter about what they're doing or what they're watching on their phone. Because there's a lot of things going on that phone that may just, open your eye a little bit. Are there any questions or something that I didn't cover that you have a question on? So parents, thank you so much for supporting your son or daughter. I appreciate the long hours you put in. I appreciate the commitment, those early practices, those late nights. It's tough on the whole family because I know it is a team commitment. So I applaud you. I thank you for my years of coaching and being a parent. I really appreciate it. My next guest is Mr. Bobby DeMeritt.
Okay. I'm short and loud. Let's see. My name is Bobby DeMeritt. I'm the athletic director, and also I'm the head wrestling coach here. Let's see. I graduated from Tucson High in 1979. I was telling the kids the other day, graduated here in 79, first got here in 75, so things have changed quite a bit since over the years. A little bit about myself, been coaching athletics, wrestling since 1982. First job coaching was at Piedmont Community College as an assistant while I was going to the U of A. Then I got a head job at CDO, was there for 7. Then I did 19 at Sunnyside. Got here in 2011, so add on to that, I'm well over 30-some years teaching and coaching and working in high school. While I was going to the University of Arizona, I worked also, after they cut the team at the U of A, stayed there going to school, had a few injuries, couldn't pass physical to move on to go to pick up another scholarship. At that time, scholarships at the college level were not guaranteed. So it's like, if you got hurt, you were out. But my grades were good enough that I picked up an academic scholarship at the university and finished up at the U of A. So in speaking to your kids, sons, daughters, about the importance of education, I'm living proof is that you may not get to go to the Olympics, wrestling, or go to the pros, or any of that kind of thing. You've got to have a vocation. When you get done with high school, especially in today's world, there's no more, back in the old days, Phelps Dodge, working construction, those kind of jobs, they're not out there no more. And if they are out there, you got to have a piece of paper that says, I can do that job. Everything, even though you get done with school, someone's going to train you to do a job. And when you do that, you're going to have to go to a class where you got to sit, read, write, probably take a test. So a lot of the kids, our dreams are up here, which is fine, but at the same time, you're not going to probably be that professional athlete for the next 40 years. Because it's funny, because I tell the kids, sorry about that. Well, we've got quite a few things going on here at school. Football coach, something's wrong with it. thing about being an athletic director, you are a farmer. You're a dairy farmer. I don't know how much everybody knows about dairy farmers. Dairy farmers can never leave the farm. You will always be here. And your kids will tell you, or you may see me, it's like, dang, does that man have a home? Where does he live? He's always here. And that's part of being an athletic director. You end up being a dairy farmer, you gotta be here all the time. Like I was saying about school and education, when I got hurt, couldn't pass the physical to move on and go someplace else and wrestle, I decided to take an internship working for the Department of Justice. So I worked for the Department of Justice for 5.5 years, Federal Bureau of Prisons, and worst job I ever had. And you learn a lot about the nature of people, unfortunately, by working in that kind of environment. And that was during the whole, what's cocaine, what's crack, Cuban boat lift. It was a very interesting time in America, working back then in the early 80s, through the mid 80s. So sometimes talking to the kids, I let them know that education is so important. And yes, we're athletes, and we want to do well on the field, but at the same time, we have to educate ourselves. Like I was saying, you know, I tell the kids, after, since I was 14, 15, I've been working ever since. And I'm 57, and I'm probably going to put in at least another 5 to 8 years before I can even think about it. I might want to retire, depending on how the stock market goes, what the pensions look like as you get towards the end, and how much health insurance costs. Now, if there's any issues, whatever it is, okay? Well, we have a pen, here it comes. My cell phone number is 520-975-7132. And feel free to call me. Doesn't matter what time it is. If you need to text, go ahead and text. I'm not the fastest. I got those chunky fingers that I'm a little bit slow. So I will return your text. Now, why do I give out my cell phone? I give out my cell phone because I'm the front line of something happened, something's not right, and you need somebody to talk to. You'll see the coach first, but if there's something that's a dire situation, unfortunately, especially the younger kids, they may not come home right directly after practice. Or you might come here to pick them up and they're not here. And you're like, oh my gosh, who do I call? What's the number? Give me a call. And then I call Mr. Thompson or I call our principal and we'll figure out what we're going to do, what's going to happen. When you call me, I will listen to, if you have a complaint, I will listen. One of the things I am going to say is, can you please put that in an email? Put it in an email, bullet point the points that you really want to make sure, and let's not have any kind of a blow up in front of the kids. We're grown-ups, let's talk about the issues. Sometimes the kids don't need to be in on the conversation. Let's get through whatever's wrong, let's fix it as best as we can, and then we'll bring in son and daughter and we'll talk about what we need to do to make things better. Okay? So I'm the old grandpa here. Mr. Thompson was one of my students when I was at Sunnyside. So now he's from Thompson. Which has happened to me a lot lately.
One more time your number, please?
It's 520-975-7132.
Thank you.
Okay, and I'm always here.
And that's one of the things, guys, like Coach Berry said, I grew up in Sunnyside, and the reason I'm in front of you is because of my basketball coach. They adopted me, they raised me, but they didn't let me mess around. And they made me go to class, and they stayed on. So Coach Berry and I kind of see the world a certain way. That's really through a blue devil mindset sometimes. But that's what we're here. We're here for your son and daughter. We're here to make sure that they get involved, and that's the biggest thing. But we just want to work together. And like I said, Coach Berry's here 24/7. He'll help you, trust me.
Yeah, and my office is B113, B113. Mr. Thompson's in B114. So most of your sons, daughters, a lot of them, they come poke their heads in the door and they'll say, what are you listening to? What are you doing? Is something not right? This afternoon, I had a student come see me today and she said, "Mister, I need some new basketball shoes. I had the same shoes since 8th grade." I said, "Really?" I said, "Tell you what, write me a letter, tell me what you need, tell me what you want, tell me what size, and I will find it. I'll get it for you, but you need to write me a letter." She started crying. And I'm like, "What are you praying for?" "It's because you're ready." Okay, now look, I told her, and this is true, when I talk to the kids, you don't break promises to kids. I've learned that over all these years. Because a lot of our kids, a lot of times, something's either going to happen tomorrow or someone can't fulfill the promise, and it's not that a parent doesn't want to, but the means just isn't there. So I told her, "Don't worry about it, I will take care of you." I said also, don't just give me a thing for one pair of shoes, give me a right for 3. Right? A pair of shoes that you want for your sport, a running pair of shoes, and then a pair of shoes that you can wear to school. And I will find 3 pairs of shoes. Promise. I will find them. She's like, "What?" "Yep, don't worry about it. I'll get it. I'll take care of it." So she started crying. I had to take her to our secretary. He said, "An idiot, she's crying." But if you have issues of that nature, either yourself, give me a call, or tell your son, daughter to call. We'll close the door. They'll tell me what's going on, what they need, and I will figure out how to take care of it.
The door is always open. The other cool thing is we're the only public school in Southern Arizona that has a Nike contract. So your son and daughter is going to be talking about something we call the Scholar Baller program. So if they're getting a 4.0, we're going to get them gear. We're going to hook them up. And trust me, we get nice stuff. We don't get, we get really good Jordan wear. We get really nice stuff, because part of it too is some kids work better with reward, or they know there's something at the end of that line. So we want to help them, okay? It goes both ways. So please use this as a resource. Like I said, the door is always open.
Yep.
And then Mr. Bays, you're up.
Well, I've got a little PowerPoint presentation I'll show you. My job is basically to give you some information regarding the risks involved in sports, and just so you have informed consent. You all know that there are some risks involved in sports. I would say this, your son or daughter is safer playing sports, statistically speaking, than they are going home with you in your car tonight. That's just true, statistically. So even in riskier sports like football, it's still safer. It's still safer than a lot of other activities that kids could be involved in. So, real quick, while that's loading, I'll just tell you that I agree with everything Mr. Thompson and Mr. Caberry have said regarding academics and sports. The statistics are that only 1 in 10,000 high school athletes gets paid professional. 1 in 10,000. So the odds aren't very good. So I always tell kids, if you have that dream, go for it. But have a backup plan. And academics is your backup plan. So, and that 1 in 10,000, that covers not just one professional sport, that covers all professional sports. It doesn't just cover the NBA, that covers the NBA Europe League. It doesn't just cover Major League Baseball, it covers single A, double A. Only 1 in 10,000 high school kids gets paid at any one time to actually play sports. So, I've been here 23 years. I love my job. I tell people I have the best job in America. I get paid to watch kids play sports. Obviously, my job is more to it than that. Just to give you some perspective, the University of Arizona has 16 certified staff athletic trainers. And here it's just me. We have more athletes. People think I'm crazy when I say that, but all you got to do is do the math. The University of Arizona has 1 football team. They carry about 90 athletes. We have 3 football teams. We have about 50 out for varsity. We have about 40 out for JV. We have about 60 out for freshmen. So we've got 150. The University of Arizona has 2 basketball teams. We have 6 basketball teams. We have 3 levels of boys, 3 levels of girls. The University of Arizona only has 1 soccer team. Only women's soccer. They don't have men's soccer. It's a club sport over there, but it's not covered by the University of Arizona's staff athletic trainers. So they have women's soccer, 1 team. We have 4 soccer teams. They have 1 baseball team. They have 1 softball team. We have 3 baseball teams. We have 3 softball teams. So My philosophy has always been to put myself where the highest serious injury risk is for kids. And in certain seasons, like this time of year, that's going to be football. That doesn't mean I don't take care of girls volleyball players. That doesn't mean I don't take care of cross-country runners. That doesn't mean I don't take care of cheerleaders or online. However, during Friday night, I'm going to be on a football field. On a Thursday night, when we play lower level JV or freshman football, I'm going to be on the football field even if we have a volleyball game going on. Because I need to be where the highest serious injury risk is. So, just so you know, I'm spread a little thin, but I do enjoy what I do. And up here is some real important contact information for you. My contact information, that's my cell phone. You can call me anytime if you have a question about your son or daughter's injury. Unfortunately, that email has changed. It's michael.tmsc1, not Mike. So M-I-C-H-A-E-L, michael.page@tmsc1.org. Training room hours, I'm there from Monday through Friday. I'm also there on Saturday mornings, just during the fall schedule, during the winter and spring. Sometimes that varies. But if your son or daughter needs to get treatment or needs to get therapy or needs to see me, you can call me and I can probably make arrangements to get down here on most Saturdays as well. Okay, so what we're going to talk about is, again, just to fulfill the liability of informed consent, some common possible injuries that can occur in sports. And so we'll start with the hot topic amongst most people these days, which is concussion. It is a brain injury. I prefer the term mild traumatic brain injury, or TBI. It sounds a little more serious than concussion because, at least in the old days, they used to say things, well, you just got your belt on, or, okay, you got a concussion. Now, I will say that concussions can be serious, but in most cases, concussions are transient, which means they don't last forever. People do get better from them. The average recovery time for a concussion is 2 weeks. Some kids take longer, some kids take less as long. Every concussion is different, and every individual's reaction to concussion is different. So they all should be considered serious, though, and people need to understand it doesn't necessarily mean that you got knocked out. You don't have to be unconscious to have sustained a concussion. And they can occur in any sport. A lot of people don't even understand you don't actually have to hit your head to get a concussion. There are people, for example, in car accidents that are wearing a seatbelt that don't hit the windshield, they get a concussion. Why? Because our anatomy, our brain is floating in cerebral spinal fluid. And if you get a sudden stop, the momentum is going to cause the brain to go forward, and it might contact some of the sharper points inside the skull, and that's what can cause a concussion. Also, concussions are invisible. What I mean by that is they don't show up on CT scan, they don't show up on MRI. There's no imaging that you can do to see if you've got a concussion. We have to rely on symptoms. So that's why we say it's invisible. It's actually chemical changes that occur in the brain. I can get into that, but that's really, I'll make everybody have a headache if we start talking about what actually causes, what actually happens when you have a concussion. What we're most concerned about is fortunately a fairly rare phenomenon called second impact syndrome. This only seems to occur to adolescent athletes. It does not occur after you're about the age of 22 and beyond. But if a young athlete gets a second impact to their brain, while they are still recovering from a prior concussion, it can be traumatic fatal. Every year, about 4 high school football players die from second impact. So what we, yeah. Okay. So I'll let you take it.
Tell them what you have to say.
So what my concern is to make sure that your son or daughter understands the seriousness of reporting if they think they have a concussion. Because we need to keep them out until that concussion has run its course and we determine that they're okay. There are several tools that we use to determine that, along with possibly your family physician, depending on the seriousness of it. But just know that we will err on the side of caution always. If there are still symptoms from a prior concussion, we're not going to let your son or daughter compete until those symptoms are subsided. And I hate to tell you this, but your family doctor, who may or may not know much about concussions, might say, well, I think everything's okay, he's clear to play. We use some other tools that might contradict that. One of those tools is called the impact test, which if you go through the slides, you'll see some information about. We do that with all of our contact and collision sport athletes. It's a neurocognitive test that measures things like memory, reaction time, things that we can determine is the brain functioning normally or not. We give everybody a baseline prior to the start of the season, so we see how their brain functions without a concussion. And then if they get a concussion, after their symptoms subside, we have them take the test again. If their scores are dramatically different than their baseline, we hold them out until their scores are equal in comparison to their baseline. So I'll keep going, and if you want to go through the rest of the slides, but I'll try to keep back here.
What we'll do is this, we're going to be able to have this on the website. So thank goodness we have a coach that is technically sound. Coach Severi and I are still fearful of computers. So we have this updated on the website. We'll have this. We're also, the other reason we're recording this is hopefully next year what we're going to do is we're going to just have an online video. So that way you can watch this at your own convenience as opposed to one set time. Are there any questions? Yes.
I have a question, not about this scale, but for the training, if athletes have sort of chronic injuries and need taping, is that something they do with the coach? Do they need to supply their own materials? How does that work?
They do that with the trainer, so make sure that's a documented injury or recurring injury with the trainer, and then you just go in for your equipment. So usually the student athletes will get treated before practice, then they get taped, then afterwards there's rehab training. Any other questions?
Is there Friday morning we need to start this week?
It started last week and it's going to be this week. So last week was how to be a Badger, so we taught our kids what we want, those expectations. This week is going to be the NCAA Clearinghouse, ACT. Next week it's going to be added study skills, and then the last week it's going to be the mental approach to the game and then also mental health. So what we've noticed in our years of kind of coaching is these kids are really down, and it's just a very interesting phenomenon when it comes to depression. It's something that we really haven't seen in student athletes a lot, so we want to make sure we're very proactive with that. So that's one thing, and please tell your son or daughter, V113, V114, those doors are always open. We do that intentionally. It's just come on in and let's talk. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Tutoring hour on Wednesdays, is that mandatory even if grades are okay?
It is mandatory unless you get a 4.0. If your son or daughter gets a 4.0, they write me a letter that's spelled correctly, stating why they don't need it, because clearly they're doing something right. So they can get exempt. There's also a team exemption. If the team that they're playing on has a 3.5 cumulative GPA, then the team is exempt. So we do try to have those carrots in there because some people like a very different study area. But for everyone else, you're in there.
Does that start tomorrow?
That starts Wednesday. So Wednesday they'll be this.
Who are you using as tutors?
What we do is we partner with the University of Arizona. So we bring in interns from the University of Arizona that are going to become teachers. We also, with our culturally responsive groupings, we have people come in. But if you have someone who's certified, let us know, because we're always looking for math and science teachers to tutor. Any other questions? Thank you so much, parents. Our door is always open, but thank you very much for everything you do. We appreciate it.